Hi, this is Allie Eliason for EDL 850 case study for Module 14 regarding Internet use violations. Some of the facts that we know about this case study so far regard the fact that this is an affluent school where these violations happened. There's a lot of fierce competition to be the best. There's a very well-respected principal with a very good reputation. Their teacher, Ms. Tate, has a conflict with students and families regarding the rigor of her class that the principal has addressed with her before, but it seems like Ms. Tate was hesitant to take that advice and put it into use. The teacher received a link via email to a Facebook page that had inappropriate and suggestive comments and what was a threat to her, or what she perceived as a threat on her life, that said who would like to see her disappear. And now she fears for her safety. She does accuse one of her students of creating the page, and she plans to question him with her principal. Another fact I didn't put on here, though, is that her principal originally views this as a prank. So they want to open an investigation together. What we need to know right now is that we need to find out first and foremost where that email came from and if it's credible. We need to know if that threat is serious. Obviously, we're going to treat it as it is credible and ensure the safety of our students and our faculty within the building to make sure that this is handled in the most professional manner so that everyone feels safe in their building. We also need to find out what resources are available to be able to locate that sender and for the teacher, because there are employee assistance programs or paid leave of some kind, so that she feels safe if she needs to take a break from the classroom while the investigation is happening. And we also need to review our district policies regarding online harassment and the procedures for investigating these type of things, as well as maybe our chain of command, talking to your superintendent and what steps are going to happen next. So we need to make sure that we are protecting our students' rights. With this being an affluent school, there are very involved parents. It did say some of them were lawyers. We don't want to create panic. We also don't want to point fingers and put the school in a position where they could be sued for like a defamation or slander for accusing someone in the wrong. So our major problem we have right now is that those inappropriate online comments regarding her were emailed to her and she feels unsafe in her home and at school. The teacher is under the assumption that the comment about her disappearing is a death threat. It didn't specifically say to kill her, but they wanted her to disappear. And the principal thinks it's a prank, but needs to protect the school, ensure the safety of our students, and also protect the district from litigation. So with that, we need to immediately set up a plan of action. So my first steps as a school leader would be to get extra safety precautions within our school and get some leave time for this teacher. She obviously said she didn't feel safe at home even, let alone at school where she thinks the student is that she believes made this comment in the pages. We need immediate communication with our superintendent to determine if they think the police need to be contacted. We need to follow those laws. The Supreme Court talks about what exactly a true threat, what qualifies as a true threat. A lot of times there's intent and who it was directed towards and exactly what words were made. So because it doesn't say someone needs to make her disappear, those sort of things, it's not constituted as a true threat and may not be able to be investigated by the police. But it's definitely something that you need to communicate with your administrators to find out if that's something that they think should happen. We need to make a plan, according to policies, how that investigation is going to be handled, like who's involved, what staff members, how to decide which students will be talked to, and how to make sure that this is not we're not limiting it to just who she thinks it is. We need to make sure that we're looking at maybe who had interaction with the Facebook page or who made comments, interview parents and students that have made complaints against this teacher in the past, so that we're actually having a case and having proof and documentation for why these are the people that we've talked to who may be involved. So with that, we need the information about the students and parents that have complained about her, especially if those complaints were frequent or if they became heated regarding how Ms. Tate ran her classroom and their displeasure with her teaching. See maybe if we have documentation of some of the words that they used, if any of those have occurred through that email or on the page. And I would also want to communicate as soon as possible with district IT staff to see if they can determine where that email originated. I know we don't always have the technology or the tools within each district to be able to do that. So finding out if that's something we could do. Because one thing that I kept coming back to is the person who sent that email may not be the person who created the page, but wanted the teacher to be aware, whether it was the person who created it wanted her to be aware because they wanted to harass her, or maybe just to be aware of that this was out here and she should be concerned. So finding out who it is and what their intent was for sending that email seems very important to determine how to move forward with this. So once we get that information about who may be involved, we need to start interviewing students after seeing who had interacted with the post online. Obviously, this is a public page where students, staff can see it as long as they're emailed that link. So she has access to be able to see this information, and that could give us some insight on who we need to talk to and how we can keep our teachers and our students safe. My steps to implement that would be to contact my superintendent, request increased security presence, and find a substitute for at least the next day, depending on how long an investigation would take and how our teacher felt. If they're not comfortable coming back, and this is a type of threat that was made, we need to make sure that they know what their options are and try to make them as comfortable as possible while we handle the situation. I would contact the IT staff to see if they can find the origin of the email and review notes of the parents and students who talked about Ms. Tate and made those complaints. I would have a team do student interviews. I would never do that myself. I think it would be important to have guidance counselor, school resource officer, even human resources, someone out there that can verify that you are being objective within these investigations, that you are not breaking laws, and that you are acting in a professional, non-accusatory manner in case litigation does come up within this or police do need to get involved. We need to make sure that we have as much documentation and witnesses as we can to verify the validity of this information. I'm hesitant to do this, but I'm kind of curious, and I would love to hear what some of you think about this, about notifying parents that inappropriate and dangerous rhetoric was posted online about a teacher and that there is an investigation taking place. Making sure that information is available before they hear it from students or before the public hears about it first, I think coming from you would stem some of those complaints about rights being stepped on or interviewing students without parents, or having even a lawyer present before you question them about something like this. And to notify them if they have questions or concerns, who to get in contact with, and include a copy of district policies regarding these types of behaviors to maybe stem some of those conversations, and hopefully maybe you can even have a parent help you get more information. I would hate to have a parent find out through a student that their child had been accused and interviewed and no one was notified. So I think as much as I don't want to create fear within the student body or with parents, I think more communication on that is better, especially regarding students being interviewed and making sure their rights are not violated. So our main goal throughout this thing is to promote the academic success and well-being of every student. With this investigation, we want to make sure that academics are not hindered, the well-being of our students' mental health, and that they feel safe within our building is being met. And we want to make sure that school can go on as normal and that people are being respected and feel safe to come to school. If you don't feel safe, education cannot happen. And there needs to be a culture and an environment where these things happen. And if a teacher is harassed online, in person, at school, whenever, it needs to be addressed as a community, I think, because these teachers do touch so many lives. And obviously, this was not an isolated incident where parents and other students have been upset, and it has now escalated to online threats. So my idea for resolution that would be best for students, hopefully would be that we could discover who it was that sent the email and the Facebook page, even though, like I said, it could possibly be different people. It may not even be someone from our school. It could be a past student. It could be a community member or a parent even. So it makes a big difference on what we discover for that, or if we find it at all, and that we apply district policies for harassment and making threats. So I think every school, especially online through COPA and things like that, that we have these policies in place in each state and nationwide to keep people from making threatening statements and harassing people online. So we need to make sure that we are following procedures to deal with those. So our goal is to make students and staff feel safe within our building, and otherwise learning cannot occur. The school's reputation is going to be damaged, and it would be harder to hire quality teachers. If we're wanting to ensure student success for everyone, we need to make sure that we can have quality teachers in our building that can educate our students. And we don't want our school's good reputation to be tarnished. So we want to handle this in a professional manner so that they see us taking the adequate steps to ensure everyone's safety. Along with this, it's a teachable moment. We want students to be able to discuss digital citizenship. We should have a program in place if we're receiving funds, especially those e-vouchers for our internet services and things like that. So we want to be able to have the conversation about how to treat people online, how to be a good citizen online and social media, and talk about the effects it can have on a school, the student, staff, and the lives of people involved. I think speaking out about the fact that this does affect the teacher and makes her fear for her life, and online bullying and how it affects people, and that just because you're behind a screen does not make you immune to legal ramifications, is something that a lot of students, especially as they get older, really need to understand. Even adults, I think they don't understand that being behind a screen does not protect you. And this would be a great moment to have those kind of conversations and maybe grow as a school community. So as I'm reflecting on this, I think about the creator of the Facebook page and how it could be different from whoever sent the email. I also think that this could take a very long time for this investigation, and we might not ever know who set it up. I also think about what can be done to support our teacher, Ms. Tate, to help lower stress in the future, and what was happening in her class to create this kind of animosity. I feel that I'm worried for the teacher and the precedent this type of incident sets. I'm anxious about how parents are going to react, interviewing students about this type of thing, and I'm nervous for our teacher's safety. I am upset by the students' actions and comments that were made towards our teacher, and I'm disappointed that our community thought that that was okay. Someone in our community thought that that was an all right thing to do. And I value that we have district policies in place regarding harassment and threats, and that we have a chance to review these with students to have conversations about respect. And I value the support and motivation that parents show towards academics. With further investigations into this, it is a teachable moment for students regarding digital citizenship, the effects it can have on a school, and just the lives of everyone involved. I think we need to talk about how the teacher interacts with students and can build relationships. We also need to see if the Facebook page was created by someone within the school or outside, if possible. And we also need to talk about if there is a student or community member that made comments that could give us some direction for who to talk to. One way that I could show integrity while doing this is I can model respect for the teacher and student safety. following school procedures. I want to make sure that everyone feels protected and supported while staying objective during an open investigation that is impartial and follows the district policies regarding this type of behavior. I also want to be fair and not apply blame to specific students and conduct an impartial investigation. I need to communicate with the families to resolve the issue as a team and apply consequences in a fair manner that's consistent with our policies as a district. I also need to follow ethical behavior by acting with integrity and fairness to support our school policies and staff. I need to make good school strategies to our dilemma that we have with this situation and develop a resiliency so that I can uphold those values and deal with this type of situation because it is a type of adversity that our school would be facing to go through this type of investigation. This is a difficult case study to respond to because there are so many variables that would change the way I handled it, depending on how every person responds. Parents could respond in different ways, from being upset to fear about safety. Hopefully they would support our school or involve lawyers if they feel their rights have been violated. And it depends so much on how things are brought up to each party that I would adjust how this was handled. So this was just an initial assessment, but it would require a lot of constant adjustments. So hopefully that answered most of your questions and gave you some ideas how we could move forward with that. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you have a great summer.